Okay, I'm going to see if I can answer this comment by the Carpet Hooligan. I did a video about the market maker, about buying new lows. Um, without confirmation, without a moving average. The only confirmation is kind of like the price structure, and what we've seen a million times in the markets is that we need to buy low and possibly new lows in the last hour, last month. And we don't know if it's going to keep going against us. So this is a real issue because trading is unlike any other field where, well, carpet, if you're going to put carpet in, let's just say you're installing carpet, unless the room's crooked, and there's tricks for that. If you have patterned carpet and the room's crooked, you don't put the carpet together in the seam in the middle. You start at the seam in the middle and work to the wall, because if you worked from the wall to the middle, you'd be like, wow, it's crooked. And that's easy solution. And the market's crooked. The market's in an angle. The market's skewed. It's noisy. It's spiky. So he says, but you know why people aren't just buying lows with limits. And I think this is another thing that the complexity worship that exists, somehow if you're very complicated about it, that you're helping. And sometimes the simplest answer is the best, but it's painful because he says, but you know why people aren't just buying lows with limits. Just means, why aren't they buying lows with just? Like there's something else you can do. You can't just buy lows limit. Like that's just not enough. I need more complexity. That's kind of just too simple. He says, because it's impossible to say for how long it will keep going down. Now that's funny because this speaks to time, which the usual thing is most people would say because it's impossible to say if you're at the bottom. That's taking time out of the equation. Because it's impossible to know if it's going to go lower. When I say it's going to go lower, I kind of took time out. But you can see where people's orientation is, because he uses how long will it keep going down, because that's pain. That is pain. Like, how long will I be underwater in this trade? This also presupposes that people that are getting in confirmation aren't going to have a problem with getting stopped out or having it go against them for a long time. Just because you're waiting for, yes, you're taking more risk. You're taking more risk by waiting for confirmation, because now you've established a low. The lows are in. Now we're going to get in. Okay, what are you going to put your stop at the low? You're risking more pips. And without not even talking about position size, which is the ultimate situation, because you're not getting married to this trade. You're incrementally getting involved. You're not, this isn't like, oh, this is the one, I'm going to load up. And so it's more than one trade. You have to be, poly. You have to have more than one trade. You can't just be, this is the girl for me. It's also not, money is involved with getting married too. So, like, is this bitch going to take all my money? So he says, it isn't possible. He says, isn't it possible to blow the account just putting out buy limits lower and lower as the market is dropping? Yes. It is also possible to blow up your account taking confirmation trades with too wide a stop or no stop. He says, that's why I'm curious how you manage it. Where do you stop taking losses and stop the bleeding? So this is what people always say. It's like if you go to war. Well, when is the war over? When do you stop the bleeding? When do you retreat? Well, you know what? If you're Churchill, you don't. So I'm using the Churchill trading model. Never give up. If you blow up that account, open another account. I don't think when you first started playing guitar, you didn't have a problem making it sound like music. So he asks another question here. In the comments, he says, if I can find it, I'm trying to understand how you trade. Well, it's how I trade and how I think, I suppose. I've watched your videos for a while, starting to understand what you mean about vacuum left behind after moves. I'm mostly confused about how you manage risk. So once again, it's all about the risk. Let's go to the charts. He actually posted a video. I'm assuming he is in this video. Based on how he's talking about the market. Here's a video that he made about the market. And he's on some platform. I don't know what it is. It looks like some in-house one-click system.
I want to make a video today explaining what I've been doing. Here we go. First of all, I use a sim account. And that's
a sim account. This might just be, I don't even know, it's just trading data. I don't know if it's hooked up to a live feed. I don't see any connection to a server.
That's how I trade. I don't trade live. And I usually use, what I'll do is I'll come in and I'll make several trades during the day. And if I happen to luck out and win one, I'll post it. Let me turn off that noise. It really doesn't help you. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, let's turn that down.
I think he's on the 1 minute chart. I can't tell, but he's got these lines drawn in here, these channel lines. Probably because he saw somebody draw channel lines, and even though I'd say he kind of violated the trend line there, but he put them in, you know. And he's identified these touches on the channel. I think he's on the 1 minute chart because I'm watching this thing update, and I can't see his spread. He doesn't have, I don't think he has a spread turned on. I don't think this is really a tradable chart, unless you're trading really big to make it worth your while. Pretty tough. He's got about 10 indicators on here. He's got some type of dump the market thing here, and a couple moving averages. It's funny, it's like baking a cake, I suppose. Yeah, I heard you need eggs and flour. If you just throw it in there, I don't know if you end up with a cake necessarily, and I don't even know if you get the ratio, if you get even these moving averages right, you come up with a cake. But what are you going to do? This is what people are posting, and people are maybe saw somebody on TradingView draw a Gartley, and they said, "Yeah, that's the ticket," you know. That's it.
Well, I will get a few trades, and I'll make trades, and I'll usually try to mimic people like Mac.
So I don't know who Mac is, but you know, if he gets a winning trade, he posts it. Casual trader. You don't have to trade. I mean, like I said, trading's not for everybody. I guess you have to be kind of out of your mind a little bit to trade. Like you have to be kind of a little quixotic, I think.
And try to draw a trend line, and if
I noticed what just came up. I noticed that here is new lows, so buying new lows for me would entail, I've got buy limits here. So how do you manage risk? Well, I'm not buying 40 standard lots at each one of these lines. I'm buying a 1K, right? So maybe I'm in 5K here, and maybe I got stopped out of this ticket because it was too tight. I could have a stop here, a stop here. Like anything else, it's a bunch of work. I have stops that's connected to that, and maybe take profits like this off of each ticket. It's really about, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, what happens if we go below here? I don't know, but I know this is cheaper than buying here on confirmation because The moving averages are pointing up. We've dipped into the moving average. I buy here. I don't get out here. And I don't realize that this is the very top of the market where you run out of sellers. And that's why it comes ripping back. And I put my stop in here. I buy here in confirmation. I keep getting stopped out. I keep losing this much every time because I back tested it. I back tested it if I buy at the moving average. And I put a stop here. And I let my profits run. I get stopped out. Right? Can you see how you could fuck up a trade here? You get in here. Moving averages confirm. I put my stop in here after I get filled. Or I put my stop in there immediately. Before, I've got a limit here for some reason. But let's say I pull the trigger at the market, I babysit it. It goes up, I don't get out. I don't realize that this vacuum is what's causing this pullback. And then ultimately this vacuum is causing this thing to pull back all the way and come after this vacuum. And I get stopped out and I go, fuck, I back tested this damn thing. Then I do the same thing again. I buy here, I don't get out here, then they stop me out. Right? Can you see how even a good entry could be fucked up by not getting out on something? So it's not only how you manage risk, but how do you manage profits? And risk kind of means losses. The word risk means loss. How do you manage wins is as important as how you manage losses, because you've got to take something off the table. If I had $1 for every time I said you got to take something off the table along the way, just because you bought here doesn't mean you have. And this is why you want to buy more than one ticket, because you want to run the show. You don't want to be one guy with a ticket and a seat. You need to be the guy that is running the show. You got to have your own. You got to be your own market maker. You got inventory. You've got tickets here to be filled. You got tickets here to be filled. You got sell limits up here, buy limits up here. And what he said, the best thing he said on here is that I check in to see if I'm up on a trade. And you would still do that, except you're so attached to there's got to be a way to make money. Well, it's just going to be the more you work, the less you risk. The harder you work, the less you risk. The harder you work, the less you're going to be upset about any one trade, because you're going to have 400 trades a week or 400 trades a day. You lost 100 out of 400. You're up you made $300. You made $3,000 a day or a week, whatever that number is. And this is like real life. You wouldn't, no matter how much, confirmation you had on anything in your life. You ever buy a car, you get it and you find out, oh, you know what? It handles like shit. I mean, it handles worse than my other car, even though it's got all this smart shit in it to keep the suspension doing a certain thing. But now you're fighting the smart car because it's trying to help you on the turn. I don't want help. I don't have a smart car. I can't stand when shit is like, well, we got analog brakes. I'm like, I'll be in charge of the brakes, thank you. Oh, no, no, they don't. The first time analog brakes was on, it freak you out. You just want to pull over and get out of the car. So the problem with the trading, how do you know? How do you keep buying into this? Well, it depends. How do you stop? You don't stop the bleeding. You just have to build a callus up. Like when you're playing guitar, you're going to bleed. You're going to rip your fingers open, and you're going to get blisters on your fingers. You know, if you listen to the song by the Beatles, I got blisters on my fingers. I think that might be the end of Helter Skelter. But you just, and then, of course, here's the dreaded noise. What do I do here? Okay, so the guy that's buying limits here, if he puts in too fat of a limit here, and there's not enough money in the account because he doesn't have a stop, by the time he gets here, he's blown up the account. Yes, that's true. I would say, and it's hard to do because most people have already seen moving averages, the magic of there's even videos called The Magic of Moving Averages. There's no magic. The magic of trend lines, the magic of whatever this is, the magic of candlesticks, the magic of time frames. Nothing's going to rescue you from the fact that when you pull the trigger on any one trade, or even get filled, my tequila buddy actually thought maybe it was different to get filled on limits. It's a different price, but you're still going to pay the spread. You're still going to pay commissions if they exist. You're going to pay for something. You're down immediately upon buying here. Even if it goes here, you are down. Even if you have a limit here with a stop here. Now, you're not going to bleed. If you put a buy limit here with a stop here, you're out of that trade. If you put a buy limit here with a stop here, you are in that trade. The question is, how do you manage profits? Should you be getting out at the floor or this floor? Yes. If you're a scalper and you bought this uncharted water, you need to get the fuck out here. Here is your exit. If you're buying new lows, you've got to get out at the new low on something, because that is where bottoms become tops, and it could keep going down. There's a lot of coulds. It's a very uncertain world. So you can get a lot of insight. His 3-minute video, unfortunately, he got thumbs down on that. I mean, he got like 3 thumbs down, 4 thumbs up, 268 views. And the only comment he got was some guy put dash lines in across. Just no comments. This poor guy.
I do happen to make a trade and it works out, I'll post that.
You should post the ones that don't work out. Now, this is also the thing that there's some shame in losing a trade. Like, wow, I got to go back to the drawing board. Well, maybe, all right? Because the winning trade doesn't mean that you did it because you had some knowledge. So posting a winning trade because you accidentally made money, and that's what would be considered if you didn't do some kind of research and come up with some formula. And the losing trade, you wouldn't post because you'd be, well, geez, that's just, that's terrible. But there is something about winning. Just the whole idea of winning. Of course, making money and winning are two different things, because what if you won, and I think he says something that he made $5 from YouTube videos or something, maybe from this one video.
What I do for a living, I'm an automation mechanic. I fix things. I fix automated equipment, and just wanted to be straightforward and upfront with you. I do not trade for a living.
See, that's very interesting. Now, this trading for a living thing also is this all or nothing thing. Can you trade? Can you fix automated equipment and trade the market? Yes. Now, when you're fixing stuff, how can you take the concept of fixing something to the market? Well, the market's obviously broken, so there's a lot of places you could think about fixing it or shoring it up or preventing damage. Like, I'm sure in the automated, he's fixing automated systems. Well, I would say there's probably some flaw in the thing if it needs fixing. It's obviously not been built robust enough. But if you take the fixing, you'd have to reframe this stuff and think that go outside the normal nomenclature, definitions, the lexicon people use to describe the market, and say, oh, I'm just fixing the market. The other guy had a quart of wood, and he had mayonnaise and water, and if that's helping you trade, because you're using mayonnaise in your trades or in your sex life, then that's where you go with it. You have to be an individual, and you can mimic people. You can do that. Of course, I could. You fake it till you can make it. That's typically how we do stuff, because we're like, oh, he's doing it like that, and he bought that kind of guitar, and I'm going to buy a Stratocaster because Hendrix had a Stratocaster, and he burned his guitar, but I'm not going to burn mine because the guy just bought my guitar. So there's a limit to the mimic. But, this is how we do it. And we're always learning how to better manage the bleeding, because you're going to bleed. You don't look at it as bleeding. It's like you'd wonder about these cage fighters, like how you endure that much punishment. Like, who's jumping out of a perfectly good airplane with a parachute? Oh my God, people have fought years to learn how to fly, and you're jumping out of the plane. It's a disgrace to the Wright brothers. I mean, you're shaming the Wright brothers. You're technology shaming. So here's this guy wants to be transparent. I mean, because probably he's set for the ridicule of the world that you ain't no real trader. What kind of chart is that?
I actually made more money on YouTube, which, you can't get paid on YouTube until you make $100. I made $5.12 on YouTube last year.
He made $5 on YouTube last year, so he's killing it on YouTube. And yeah, so amazing. People are looking for, like, the ultimate truth from Sim Trader, and 3 thumbs down, because people are like, when you see ultimate trading truth, you're really kind of setting yourself up for the word ultimate. Ultimate is really asking for it, isn't it?
I made more money on YouTube than I did day trading. You can't really make money day trading when you trade Sim.
Well, you could if you actually had, I guess if you're going to post on YouTube, you can make money. But you can make fake money on Sim, and it's like I said, not everybody has to trade, and it's a fascinating topic because there's so much wrapped up in it. I think it's the most, there's so many rumors and myths about trading. I think there's more of that than there is about buying a new car.
I'm not really sure how.
How do you know that car is not a lemon?
I made 10.25 points.
With lemon. There used to be lemon laws. I don't know if anybody knows what a lemon is. It's a car you buy that's kind of sour.
That's probably a fluke too.
I don't know what this number is he has. It goes from 5th. It goes up insanely. Oh, that must be the volume.
Anyway, sorry to disappoint. I hope.
I'm very disappointed. I'm just kidding. I don't want to be mean to a guy that's just trying to figure out and asking probably the questions most people have asked themselves a million times. How do you stop the bleeding? And how do you know that this is the best price to get in? And don't I want confirmation? And don't I want to write trend lines and moving averages, right?
I hope people can find out someone that can mentor them that actually makes money.
Okay, so making money. If I lost today and I made money the other day, am I a winning trader? Well, it depends what time it is, what day it is. Now, if I look at my Sim account, I got a Sim account running here. Let's take a look. Now, this account is up $500. I was up $600 earlier. I've cashed out of some of my Australian dollar, which I bought into a plunge here on limits with 50 pip stops, all 1Ks. I'm not really trading this very hard, this account. I mean, some of these orders only last for 4 hours, so I didn't even get filled on some of this. I'll just take a peek into this strategy of just buying new lows and selling new highs on limits. I don't have any market orders because I wasn't babysitting this tonight. But here's the British pound. Now, I did have some tickets in here, and I think they expired. This is the 1 hour British pound. So take a look at this market. Here is new lows. This is a 50 pip grid. Had I bought new lows here, this is 1 day. The dotted line is 1 day without regard to my cloud system. So let's say I put a basket of limits in here with a stop, with a master stop down here. Okay. Now, I could have cashed out of all the tickets here, and you can see my scripts I've been dropping. Some of these only lasted 4 hours, and some of them got stopped out. And it's like, how do you manage risk? That really is another term for losses, I think. But like I said, how do you manage profits is is also the thing. So here I cashed out if I got filled, which I didn't get filled on all these tickets, right? I mean, the market never came down here again. Also, how do you deal with not getting filled is actually the more painful thing. How do you deal with placing orders that never get filled? That's always thought that manually speaking, that would be brutal. So if my first limit comes in here and I have a master stop down here, what's going to happen eventually is I'm going to be disappointed that I didn't fill on this limit. The question for me is, how do you feel with the psychological punishment of not getting filled on limits? This is just as painful as bleeding. I'm not worried about bleeding anymore. Now I'm worried about I'm not bleeding enough, or I'm not getting bruised enough. If I put limits all the way down here manually, as opposed to dropping a grid here, so I can drop with a 50 pip stop, I can just come in right here, right now. That's 1 pip apart. That's 1 pip apart. That's a 10 pip range I buy for the next 4 hours. So I'm creating an auction, my own kind of criteria is, it's like I'm looking for the market to get down here 4 hours, fill this at this top, become a bottom on the 1 hour chart, and with a 50 pip stop, my target's here. I don't know if I'm going to hit my target. I don't know if they're going to hit my stop, and I don't know. And because I don't know, that's the pain, right? Because I don't know. That's where the pain comes in. Also the bleeding. If I go to the 4 hour chart, I can see that the best place to buy would be anything below this wick. The only problem is I have to wait a week to get filled on that trade. And we all know that's a good trade. We've all seen that. That's what it looks like on the daily. We all know this is a good trade, selling up here, okay? That's a lot of pain and bleeding. That is 150 pips against you until you make your 300 pips down. If you can ride that back to this. Or, and now if you did that and you said, well, look at this high. It's so extreme. What if I sell up here in a 50 pip window to make myself a measly 300 pips? Okay. You got to start viewing the market at the edge extreme in a 50 pip window on the daily. And this is 1 month from each one of these is a month. That is a lot of pips. That's a long time to wait. And what if you didn't get out here, right, into this vacuum? See, here's the vacuum, right? This is the price left behind. So is this. If you did not get out on the filling, so you sold up here at the tippy top, I would say first thing, lose all that, lose all your, I wonder if I have an old template here without the cloud. Get rid of all your indicators and just put bars up. And I would say don't even use a line chart. Just look at volatility. Just do a whole thing on volatility. In fact, you can don't use the ADX, don't use the ATR because it's set at 14. Set it to 1. And there's a histogram version out there. I don't like the line chart of volatility. It's too, I can't count the periods. See, the thing about the bars and the histogram is I can see 1, 2, I can count each bar. Plus, I can see each session range. Let me see if I have a template that's stripped down that doesn't have so much crazy shit on it. There you go. So here's the cleanest template I have. I do have closing prices. I have 3 pieces of information here. And surely I can see, before drawing it, I can see the trend lines. They just pop out at you. Okay, I can see a trend line here, but this doesn't mean anything without a trade plan. Could you have sold every hit after this first hit at the trend line and close on daily? Yes. But with too tight a stop, after I get this first line, and it is kind of a little more like this, after I get this first zigzag and I can draw my first downtrend line, it doesn't mean that I'm going to be able to make money from the downside, even though it went down, because they came back and they clipped this wick and they clipped into this area. They didn't quite make it to there. I have to fix the scale. Another thing is you want to fix the scale, because if you're trying to make 50 pips, who cares about the 500 pips we see on the screen? We don't. If you're trying to make this many pips, and this is when you'll find out, okay, well, maybe the daily chart's not good because I can't see the forest for the trees. We go to the 4-hour chart. Now you can see what's going on. We can see low volatility down here. We can see the confirmationless Goober low volatility entry here. We have a small bar on the day. I know this is too simple. It's just too simple. I don't like, I mean, after looking at Gartley's and all that shit and all this and linear regression, it comes down to the fact that this is the lowest risk non-directional entry in the world. And it is a hedge. It's a potential hedge. If you put a sell stop here to buy a stop here, you're saying, I don't care which way I get filled. This is probably a Sunday night here, something very low volatility. But here, if you don't take something off the table on the way to this new low on the 4-hour, then you're fucked. But if you bought this new low on the 4-hour, you had the potential, if you got out here at this top, here at this new high, to make X. Right? We all know this is the floor. And we almost made it there. And now we're going to go after it again. Going after it. And now the dollar's going to get creamed this week. And crude oil keeps going up. So I'm just going to throw an update in here. It doesn't mean you'll make money from these trades, because if your stop's too tight, if you're in too big, and you don't get the fuck out on something on the way there, you're just not going to ride this shit to any type of amazing target. Now it looks like Bitcoin's about to break up. The euro against the South African ZAR. Let me go down to the crude oil if I can find it real quick here. Let me go back to sleep. Take a nap. Get ready for the opening. Where the fuck is it? I know I got it in here. Here's crude oil screaming north. Now look at crude oil did a stop hunt, as you would call it, on the 4-hour chart. It came back into here. Now, buying here, I guarantee you there is no divergence in RSI, because RSI is based on close, and this is a higher close. This might be a reversal in RSI. But all that aside, since I know all that stuff, and I've seen only a few indicators that I don't know that exist that I've ever even seen, but I've seen almost every indicator. I could throw any indicator on here, Bollinger Band. I've gone through all of them. I've been doing it 20 years. I've seen it all. Nothing compares with good old line chart on top of bars, in my opinion. This is why I decided to use this technique. It explains everything I need to know, which is volatility is number one. As it marches up slowly here, even the stop entry confirmation, non-directional people are making money on that. They got in a low volatility bar. They got a little stop hunted here, but wow, you know. And who didn't get the fuck out here? And you can see the fucking they fucking did, okay? The reaction at this vacuum is to pull back insanely off of that. At some point, you've got to understand auction theory, and I would say look up auction basics and auctions with a crayon. Look up auctions with a crayon. I'll put it in that link. Trading auction theory explained with a crayon. And the guy's as pissed off as me, because he's like, dude, this is what's going on. Get your brain around it. Okay, now, that looks like a fucking train wreck at first, but once you start to look into the subtleties of what is a trap, what is a vacuum trap? Is this a place to sell? Yes. Is it always going to work? No. Because if I said, well, look at this vacuum, I bought this, and sure, it worked out to this vacuum, but I didn't get out, and they fucking blew up my account. Because your eyes are on this trend line, maybe. Oh, look, I'm going to buy here, dude. Look at it, it's touching my trend line. Let me see if I have enough data here. Zoom out. Going to make the argument there's a trend line there. Sure. Like here's my trend line. I did what you said. Okay, you have to do a bunch of trades actually to be a trader. I'm sure that you fix more than one automated system. And some of them aren't fixable. You're like, this piece of shit. Who wrote this fucking... I don't know, he's talking about code, but it's like, you must have wrote a piece of shit. You can make all sorts of arguments like, look at this support became resistance here. Great, but if you didn't scalp out of that, Okay, there's all sorts of correlations you can make, but it's about managing profits. Managing risk is, when I ever hear the word risk, I think loss. Because how would you have a problem managing profits? How do you manage barely making money? You got to flip it over, and you can't be so doomsday. I guess that's why people take the self-help courses and stuff. I tried that to be undepressed, but I just thought, no, I like being depressed actually. Because then when something goes good, I'm like, oh, that's pretty fucking rare. Like, to be happy all day long just sets you up for complete depression later. All you can do is go down from there. So I have to invert everything and backward engineer everything, because it's just not. It's never going to work in the kind of utopian thing. Look at this. Gee, the dollar fell out of bed there. Here's another example. Would you sell without confirmation the tippy top of that? Well, a lot of people wouldn't. What they do is they do like the guy in the video. I'm waiting for it to come back to the 13 EMA, and I will sell right here. Okay, you're taking more risk on. Who's got the tighter stop? Yeah, what if they stop me out? Okay, but you can't think like that. You can't think like that. You have to have your buy limits here on the CAD, and you see where the sellers got out. You see where the scalpers got out? They got out at the floor like you're supposed to. If you had the balls to step in front of the 4-hour Canadian dollar and place your buy limits here, which you could have placed these on Friday of the previous week. You waited a week to get filled. You're up on the trade. If you did not get out at the structure, you're an idiot on something. Unless you have so much money that you're going to hold this until it goes up and takes out the higher high. But look at new lows. Look at a new low winner here. A new low winner here. Why aren't people buying new lows? Because the only confirmation is that you didn't blow up your account. Okay, the blow up your account is just, or bleeding, losing money. You just have to accept you're going to fucking blow up your account maybe. Get that out. It's like, what if you get married to some bitch and it turns out she's got cancer? The day after you get married, oh, honey, got a fucking brain tumor. Oh, nice. I'll never get married again. But, this is the thing, right? What do you do with bad fucking data? Now, if you got out here, let's say you didn't get out there, so you move your stop to like a risk. How do you control risk? Well, you run a trailing stop, right? Does that ever fuck you up? You bought here at new lows. You were up on the trade. You left your profits run. Then you moved your stop and you scooched it up to here. Your initial stop was down here at this basement. And you moved it up and you're like, fucking A, man. And then you watch this thing engulf all the way to probably here now. I mean, I'll go out on a limb and say we're probably going to here. And what if we're not? Well, you know what? Who's putting sell limits here? Not too many people, because they're like, well, what if that keeps going up? You can't live like that. Well, you can, but not in trading world, because you just have to accept you fucking don't know. There's no guarantee. It's just, it's so counterintuitive. Just like this trade here now, I made money on this trade. All the Australian pairs I made money on, and I'm currently up $500 on 1Ks that I placed in this account buying this exact situation. New lows, and I think the Australian dollar is the one that I cashed out on already, because if you look at the 4-hour chart, and these are this trade I'm still in, based on that entry down there. It's kind of hard to see with the cloud on there. But that's the weekly. Here's the daily, and I bought into this new low here, and everything is a little bit, each currency, nothing is, that if you trade multiple currencies, you see how difficult it is. And here, we didn't get filled, so very disappointing. But we did get filled on here. I have a 50 pip stop and a 30 pip stop. And but see how I did that? I didn't buy one ticket. These are all 1Ks that I stacked up, and all I did was this. Okay, I dropped the scripts in there. I don't know if that helps, but There you go. Trading is not for people that are afraid to bleed. Are you bleeding when you drive your new car? Yes, your car is using fuel. It's wearing out. You're going to hit a pothole. Or a chuck hole, I like to call them. You're going to hit somebody's going to hit you. You're going to park it in the garage and you do the best you can. You're going to wax your car, but your car is a depreciating asset. But people love to buy a new car. It's such a good feeling. Oh, I got a new car. But you never hear anybody, and people do treat their trading account, at least I used to, like a new car. Oh, I got 10 grand in there, or I got $1,000 there. I don't want to take no losses. I don't want anything to go bad. I mean, boy, you just put too much pressure on yourself. Just relax. It's not that you don't have to trade. You don't even have to do any of this. Nobody's saying you have to do that, but it's kind of like you feel like you're missing out on this big parade of Forex and this and that, and I really should do this and I should do that. And I think the best thing to do is find out what 100 pips looks like on your chart, fix the scale, put up a bar chart, and ask yourself, could I just be a volatility breakout trader? Yeah, you could. You could be a daily volatility breakout trader. You're looking for a small day on the British pound. You put your buy stop here, you put your sell stop here, and voila, or viola, you're making money, right? Now, you also have to figure how many tickets did you put on the sell side, on the buy side. Hopefully you put individual tickets so you can just have them predetermined to peel out of there. You want to get out here on your first ticket because buyers are kind of coming here on this is the daily, so another time frame, right? You can scalp out of here, and then you probably know that buyers are going to come in here, so you want to be a buyer here, which means you want to get out of your shorts. Maybe you do want to buy. And look at this very, very, very like 1 pip touch here in this window here before it reverses. Like you have to fix the scale to see the actual trade there. Did it go lower? Yes. Okay, so if you could have bought this new low, and who charts like this? Nobody, because people don't see what the market sees. All the market sees is there's liquidity here. There's uncharted water there. And look at the reversal from that. How many pips is that trade? With how tight a stop? Oh, it's only like 250 pip rally off of this. Okay. Same with this. You're up 100 pips from this entry right now. 100 pips. Your stop might be down here. But here's also the paradox. You got to be a buyer down here. Well, how does that work? Well, because if you made enough money here in some regard, and don't forget, I put my orders in 1 pip apart. So what does it look like? That's 1 pip apart on the platform. If I do maximum stretch on here, I think I can only see like 10 pips. Wait, I could actually put orders in between those orders on here. Since this market tracks in 1/10 of a pip, watch, I'm going to put an order in between those orders. There's 10 increments between each pip. It's a 5 decimal broker. Do you see how many tickets I could put in here to buy this area? That's how I manage risk. Right there. Also, when I manage exposure to the entry of it, it's all in the scripts because that's the only way I could get around that. So that's it. I don't know what to say. I mean, it goes on and on. It's all, if you have a lot of, if you look at the words that this guy uses, he uses time, how long will I bleed, and he talks about risking money. These are all the hindrances of trading. People go to the casino in Vegas and assume they're going to lose, and they have fun. But in trading, no. Got to have a Gartley, got to have this, got to have that. You shouldn't be confused how I manage risk because I manage it on a per ticket basis. Each ticket has a built-in. On this account I'm trading now is purely, it's a pure script based. I'm not manually trading. The other one I manually traded, I was able to go from 10 grand to $70,000 manually trading in 5 days, okay? But I was risking 10 grand because I could have blown the account up, right? And I have blown up $10,000 accounts and come back and reloaded it. So even after that, if I lost $30,000, I'm still up $50,000 because at $70,000, But who would blow up a $10,000 account and say, "Oh, it's done. Fuck no, I don't care. I was planning on. I mean, I was risking 10 grand. Really, you're gonna risk 10 grand on 500 trades or 300 trades or 20 trades?" People say, "Well, I thought you knew how to trade." Like, wait, I mean, but you're gonna trade and you're gonna risk money? Like, huh? Don't you have a way I can do like a risk-free trade? Well, even options, if you buy that, you're gonna, you're losing every moment. The premiums going against you. So, yeah.
I don't know anyone that makes money in this business.
So you don't know anyone that makes money in this business because you don't see people at the coffee shop. Like if I go to Starbucks and yell out, "Anybody in here trading Forex?" And if somebody even raised their hand, "Hey, are you winning?" Well, not today. So I know that his belief system is he doesn't think it's possible. You don't have to meet anybody to know that somebody must be making money. Somebody must have figured out a way to do it. But maybe not. It's not good to start off with that. I think most people would see the guy with the Ferrari and all the money and say, "God, I want to be that guy. That guy's making money." Then they go, "Oh, so it's a real account. You trade for a living." This all or nothing thinking. You either have a good entry or you don't. There's an optimal trade. There's a perfect place to get in. And that, this is going to also make you happy because you're making money.
Yeah, really hard to say. I'm sure someone does.
But why would you even? So a lot of people won't even start trading. I've met people and people have commented that, unless you can show me that this works, I'm not even going to bother. That's what the guy said in Florida who kept stalking me. "Listen, unless I know this is going to work, why? I'm not even going to bother learning it unless I know it's going to work." Okay, great. It's like, why would you if you don't like learning, then yeah, that could be a problem because I'm still trying to play guitar more better. And the struggle to get there, each time you play a different scale or get a different reset on your brain and get your beginner's mind going on anything you're doing. And I'm sure when he's fixing stuff in automation, a lot of times it's obvious, what needs to be done. But then you find shortcuts because you say, "You know what? Typically this happens. Typically that happens." And a lot of the times, if you can't figure out what's wrong with something, it's because you're using your typical playbook. And maybe it's outside of that. And certainly trading is forcing you to step outside of what typically happens and normally happens. And this moving average thing is so cute every time I look at it.
If I was gonna trade, I would have taken a short. I would have taken a short right here.
So he was taking a short right there. And of course, if that was a winning trade or losing trade, could you repeat that? Would you say, "Well, I know why I'm taking that short"? If you can journal or do a video or say, "Okay, well, it seems I seem to make money every time I take a short." You'd actually be taking a short at the breakout. If you short now, you're saying that this bottom has become a top, and we're going to keep tanking because we broke into new lows in the trend lines say we're going down, the channel says we're going down for whatever reason. But putting so much into that one event, whether it's a win or a loser, if you get discouraged over that, then that's a problem because then you're going to say, "Well, see, I suck at this," and give up, And you would, I was trying to teach my niece guitar years ago, and she says, "Oh, okay." She says, "Can we do something else now? Like, this is harder than I thought."
Anyway,
I think that
you guys do find your way.
Oh, that's the price, maybe. I can't tell. Is he in the Dow Jones? I don't know what he's trading. Whatever he's trading goes for 2,000
in this market.
I think that might be volume of 1 or something. This is volume number 1. It could be a Renko chart. I don't know. He's not saying anything.
This is a difficult business. I've not committed to go live. Anyway,
I would try a nano account or a micro account if you don't want to go live.
too long of a video here. Have a good day.
Too long of a video, so you have 3 minutes on that. Anyways, look at this fucking mess. How to identify market patterns? How to trade with the market makers? This is the same goober that claimed that I did in the video. Guy goes, he's not a market maker. No shit. This guy's just complete goober. It's like, you got to see his thing. It's like, look at this intro. Trade, grow, inspire. Does it ever end with the self-help angle, right? Anyways, that's the comments.